Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where I help home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, and when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. Well, what's on the mind of everybody right now is this whole stimulus package thing, and I've really been kind of quiet on this because there's just been a whole bunch of stuff going on back and forth. So as of last night, okay, so what's today? March 26th. Somebody said you don't need to date your videos. Well, I'm doing that just because I need a little extra because, I don't need folks to get confused. March 26th, 2020. Okay, so as of last night, the Senate passed the stimulus bill, $2 trillion, and people got questions. So we have some tentative answers because the reason it's tentative is because, it's still got to go to the House, okay? Even though the House is expected to pass this bill, expectations ain't reality until it happens, okay? So it's still not done yet. So this is why I want you to take this information, still some of it with a grain of salt, but it is what it is, okay? So the first thing is, how much is everybody getting? Okay. So what we know is the checks will be $1,200 per adult, $2,400 for married couples filing jointly, and $500 per child. Now, that definition of child is supposed to be based on the child tax credit. So if your child is 17 or older, you're not going to get $500 for them. If they've aged out of the child tax credit, don't expect that $500 for them. And yes, there are income limits. So if you make less than $75,000 for single filers, $150,000 for joint filers, and $112,500 for heads of household. If you are below those limits, you are expected to receive a check. However, once you get above that amount starts to phase out to where if you are single making $99,000 or more, if you are filing jointly, it's $198,000, and and for a head of household, $146,500. If you exceed those, that is you won't get a check. Okay. So less than 75,000 for single, 150,000 for joint returns, 112,500 for heads of household. You are expected to get a check. If you exceed 99,000 filing single, 198,000 married filing joint, 146,500. If you exceed those, you will not expected to receive a check. Okay. Now I know people still have questions about, what if you're not required to file all of that. So it's going to be based on what Social Security has. Okay. So first of all, it's going to be either on based on your 2019 taxes. If you have not filed those, then it goes back to your 2018. Okay, so it basically whatever's your most recent between 2018 and 2019, whichever is your most recent return. So if you've already filed your 2019 taxes, it's going to be based on your 2019. If you have not filed your 2019 taxes, it's going to be based on your 2018. Okay, then there's a question about what about retired people? Are you eligible? Yes. And that's going to be, again, based on Social Security information as far as we know. Okay. But please do not ask like a whole bunch of details because we still don't know. And that's why it's so difficult to talk about these things, because there are a lot more questions than there are answers right now. And that's because the official language is still not out there yet. Okay. And this is why I'm very cautious about putting the information out there, because for me, the excess information only causes excess anxiety, and I'm just not for that. So that's what I'm saying. The other questions, about, if your refund was offset for some reason, will the stimulus be offset also? And the answer to that is no. Your stimulus has nothing to do with whether or not your refund was offset. I will talk about student loans in just a second, okay? So yeah. So, but you still got to get through the House. So those are the main questions based on that. The other question is when. When are we going to get these checks? The language in the bill says as soon as possible. When as soon as possible is, I don't know. Now, the one thing I will tell you is that for people that get checks, is going to be based on your last address. So if you have moved since you filed your 2018 taxes, then you need to update your address, and I think that's Form 8822. Let me look real quick because I got a lot of numbers going through my head. Okay. Yes, Form 8822 to change your address. Okay. Yeah, I know that you've heard the date, April 6th, but we just don't know if the government can move that fast. So while April 6th might sound cute, the reality is that may not happen, and it may not happen that fast. So I don't know. Okay. That's why I said, you've got to understand that, understanding how government works. Just because it's passed the Senate and the House is expected to pass the bill, it ain't passed until it's passed. Okay, it's just like the bill was expected to be voted on the Senate earlier yesterday, but oops, there was a hiccup in the middle of the day and it didn't get voted on until later that night. Okay, so now let me talk about the student loan part really quick. Okay, so the president announced on March 25th that, student loan payments would stop. Okay. And you need to go, listen, there's a lot to unpack. So I really encourage you to go to these official websites, not social media. Okay. Go and read this stuff for yourself. Okay. So for people whose refunds were withheld because of student loans, yes, Form 8822 to change your address. Okay. Now, so for people whose refunds were withheld for student loans, March 13th is the date. Okay. So if your refund was in the process of being withheld before March 13th, then your refund, you will not get your refund back. After March 13th, you're expected to get your refund back. Now, the other question I've also gotten is from tax professionals whose clients were supposed to pay for their tax preparation fees out of their refund, and they didn't get their money because their client's refund was withheld because of student loans. Will that tax professional get their money? I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. So if you were one of those people that your refund was withheld for your student loans and your tax professional didn't get paid, pay them for their work, okay? Because they should be. Now, there's a lot to go that goes with these student loans. Go to studentaid.gov. I think that's the website. I've been reading a whole bunch this morning, you guys. Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah, studentaid.gov in order to find out more about your student loans. They've issued a phone number. The phone number, if you are a student loan borrower and your refund was offset for student loans, you need to call 800-621-3115. And that's the department's default resolution group. There's a whole bunch of moving parts with these student loans as well. Okay. What else do I have? Now, one of the other things too that you need to know about is that the wage and income verification is not going to stop for my earned income tax credit, people, additional child tax credit. That has until July 15th as well. So just know that even if you're due a refund right now, if they're still doing wage and income verification. So that is not that hasn't stopped. They got until July 15th. The other thing on the compliance part, they've issued some other types of, I guess, restrictions, if you will, where the IRS isn't going to be processing things. So they've looked at installment agreements. Payments between April 1st and July 15th for taxpayers under existing installment agreements are suspended. Offers in compromise, pending applications will have until July 15th to provide additional supporting information. Payments accepted may be suspended until July 15th, and the IRS will not default an OIC taxpayer for taxpayers delinquent in their tax year 18 filing. Liens and levies will be suspended, and new automated liens and levies will be suspended. The IRS will not initiate new field, office, and correspondence audits. Appeals will continue to be heard over the telephone or video conference. Yeah, okay. And protect the statute of limitations. Whoo, child. Okay. Unemployment insurance. One of the things that was a sticking point that really held up the bill was the unemployment insurance. And so now under the Senate bill, unemployment insurance now includes an additional $600 per week payment to each recipient for up to 4 months, and extends unemployment insurance benefits to self-employed workers, independent contractors, and those with limited work history. Okay. Let's see, the proposed recovery rebates will use 2019 tax returns, 2018, if the taxpayer has not filed 2019, to determine the advanced rebate amount and reconcile the rebate based on 2020 income. I'll be honest with you, I really don't know what the devil that really means, okay? Let's see, there are also employer credits here. So there is $350 billion allocated for the Paycheck Protection Program, which is meant to help small businesses impacted by the pandemic and economic downturn to make payroll and cover other expenses from February 15th to July 30th. Small businesses may take out loans up to $10 million, and that's tied to payroll costs, and can cover employees making up to $100,000 a year. This is from the Tax Foundation, you guys. I will try to post all the links here so that you can go and read this for yourself. There are so many unanswered questions. Please do not ask me about industry specific stuff, because honestly, I can't tell you. I really can't tell you how this is going to work out until it gets passed in the House and it gets signed into law and the official language is written. That's how this works. And that's why, just again, there's more questions than answers because the official language hasn't been written. This is just where we are now. Okay. So, and let me stop and explain that. When I say this is where we are now, because the reality is this: if this gets to the House and somebody, folks decide, I don't like it, well, then it doesn't mean anything. All of this that I'm sharing with you right now means zero. Okay, that's what that means. All right. So employers, the Social Security payroll tax payments may be delayed until January 2021. And then the net operating loss rules have been suspended. Whew. And there's $454 billion in emergency lending to businesses, states, and cities throughout the U.S. Treasury's Exchange Stabilization Fund. So there's money's out there, you guys. So, okay, now you got all this stuff out there. Like, what does that mean for you? Okay, that means if you have not filed your taxes, get your taxes filed. Okay, number one, if you have moved, you need to change your address. Okay, and if you're eligible, go apply for your unemployment insurance. Do all of those things that you can control. Manage your money. Okay, because again, this is not this isn't done yet. There are, for these loans, if you're a business, if you're a small business owner, and a small business owner, you're a sole proprietor, you have an S corp or whatever, there's already the small business disaster loans that are out there. You got to have your books in order. If you're sitting up here keeping your books on a spreadsheet, guess what? That may not work out very well for you, because there's information that they need that if you don't have your books together, you really can't answer. So get your taxes filed, get your books in order, and apply for, if and understand that in applying for these loans, this is not free money. Okay, this is money that's going to have to be paid back, whether it's at a low interest or no interest. You're still going to have to pay that back. So, and also with these loan applications, they're going to be getting transcripts from the IRS for your tax returns as well. So it's not that you just go put something on a form and then it better match the tax return. That's what I'm trying to say here. So that is, so that's really it. Again, first of all, stay safe. Secondly, manage your money, and just know that this is not done yet. Okay, that's the main takeaway here. This is not done. It's supposed to go to the House tomorrow, which is March 27th, and the House is expected to pass this bill, but it ain't passed until it's passed. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so I got some more questions that were listed in the comments, and I will try to go back and answer those as best as I can. But again, I can't give you answers that I don't have. And we don't have these answers because the official language isn't written yet. This is just what is proposed. And the only reason why I'm sharing this now is because it actually made it out of the Senate. Now, again, if it don't make it out the House, then we back to square one. Okay? So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was a long one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right, have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.